Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast live stream. I hope everyone is thawing out here in the United States where I'm sitting right now. I'm in Texas and the ice is finally starting to kind of dry up and melt a bit today. Man, what a couple of days here in America. A lot of people severely affected by the weather, but everyone's starting gradually to get back on their feet. So keep everyone in your prayer, especially Mississippi and Tennessee were very hard hit. So keep them in your prayers. In the meantime, will the Iranian regime be hard hit in the coming days, the coming hours, perhaps? Who knows? President Trump has pretty much announced that the moment of reckoning is upon us. I should say upon the Ayatollahs. That armada, that's what the president called it, U.S.-led armada, obviously, has made its way to the waters of the Middle East. And it seems like Iran right now is being surrounded by U.S. forces. And the regime now, it's been teetering on the brink for some time, but now their backs are really against the wall. And they're making some very serious threats against the United States, U.S. forces in the region. And now they're threatening to obliterate Tel Aviv. All along, we've known that if Iran is attacked, their response will include not only missile volleys, drones against U.S. forces and targets in the region, but against Israel. They've made that very, very clear. They're going to go out, the regime, the mullahs in Iran, in their view, in a blaze of glory. And they're going to launch ballistic missiles at Israel. God forbid, but there's a high likelihood that they do that. And that's why Israel is on high alert. And that's why Prime Minister Netanyahu is promising that if Iran dares do that, that Israel will respond in an unprecedented fashion against Iran. And rest assured, President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu and their respective teams are in close contact on this every single day, just as they were in the run-up to the 12-day war back in June, where clearly there was close coordination between the United States and Israel. And folks, it's very similar. I'm going to read President Trump's specific latest quote that he posted on Truth Social and across social media this morning, directed towards Iran's leaders. But it's kind of this psychological warfare, I guess you could call it. We saw this in the run-up to the 12-day war, where Trump on one hand is saying to the Ayatollahs, we will unleash hell upon your heads if you don't change course. And on the other hand, he's saying, look, we want a deal. We don't want to have to use military force. If Iran agrees to a deal, we can settle this peacefully. It's mixed messaging, and it's very much intentional. It's very much part of the art of the deal, which President Trump is famous for, of course. But it's very much intentional, mixed signals to the Iranian regime to keep them off balance. One day, Trump may be saying, we're going to unleash hell. The moment has arrived, you're done. And the very next day, he's saying, well, look, we've got this armada in the region now. We don't want to have to use it. We want to make a deal. But if Iran's not willing, there's no telling what we'll do. So on one hand, one day it could be more conciliatory messaging from President Trump. Then the next day it's threats and we're coming for you. But again, it's all calculated. This was exactly the model with Venezuela prior to the seizure of Maduro earlier this month. And absolutely this was the model prior to the 12-day war and Operation Midnight Hammer back in June 2025, when Israel just dealt massive blows to the Iranian regime. And the United States, of course, finished the job. Israel kind of limbered up those nuclear sites and hit them. Then the U.S. came in and finished the job with those B-2 bombers in Operation Midnight Hammer, a stunning success. But if you recall, folks, and we talked about this a bunch on the live stream back then, 8 months ago now, hard to believe, it was the same deal. Everyone was saying, I don't think Trump's going to do it. It seems like Trump wants a new nuclear deal with the Iranian regime. I don't think he's going to strike their nuclear sites. I didn't say that, but many were saying that. And we hear a similar thing now. What's he going to do? Because 2 weeks ago, he was saying to the Iranian people, help is on the way. Seize the institutions of power in Iran. He said that on social media, explicitly said it. I'm quoting him verbatim. We are locked and loaded and ready to help you, Iranian people. Now you've had at least 40,000 Iranians slaughtered in the streets. And the carnage continues, by the way. And the videos are gradually starting to leak out to the world, the bloodbath that's ongoing. And the world just shrugs its shoulders and looks the other way. What a time of moral cowardice, especially here in the West, where I'm sitting right now, what used to be known as the West, Western civilization, Judeo-Christian Western civilization. Trump is the only one speaking out forcefully about it. Now, the Chancellor of Germany, Merz, said today that the Iranian regime's on borrowed time. Maybe it's a few more weeks, but it can't survive. Great. Agreed. But there's much more than just rhetoric. Sanctions, there's all sorts of things these European powers can be doing to stand alongside the United States. And you know what? Militarily coming alongside the United States, as they should have in the 12-day war and in Operation Midnight Hammer, because the Iranian regime threatens not only the United States, but Europe as well, the entire Western world, or what's left of it. So we're going to talk about this a bit more, where the mixed messaging is going, what's the end game here? What's Iran saying, by the way, and Iran's threats against Israel, Tel Aviv in particular. Real quick, let me read that direct quote from President Trump. This is this morning, Wednesday, January 28th. Time is running out for Iran. I've called it his final warning. You see the thumbnail and title today. And the next potential U.S. attack on Iran, if Tehran doesn't make a nuclear deal, would be far worse than Operation Midnight Hammer, the June 2025 strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities. Don't make that happen again, he warned the Ayatollahs. And he wrote, quote, on Truth Social, just reading this straight off my phone, a massive armada is heading to Iran. It is moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm, and purpose, Trump wrote. It is a larger fleet headed by the great aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, a larger fleet than was sent to Venezuela. Like with Venezuela, it is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary. Trump said he hopes that Tehran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable nuclear deal. No nuclear weapons, one that is good for all parties. Time is running out, Trump said. It is truly of the essence. As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't, and there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse, he closed out by saying. Don't make that happen again, Iran. Thank you for your attention to this matter, his usual sign-off. This is, folks, again, very, very eerily similar to exactly what took place in the days and months leading up to the 12-day war back in June. Trump was saying, look, we want a deal, agree to a deal, and we'll let you off the hook. But at that time, the Ayatollahs rejected it. And the Ayatollah, the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei in particular, rejected it out of hand. They said, no, we're not going to make a deal. And they're doing it again. Now, apparently, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey are in the mix and trying to get Iran to climb down and give some concessions to the United States. But folks, this goes against everything the Iranian regime believes. America is the great Satan, death to America. They've practically copyrighted those phrases. And the Ayatollah is a true fanatic, an Islamic jihadist fanatic who's what they call a 12er. You might say, what's that? The 12th Imam. It's this branch of Shia Islam where they believe the 12th Imam, they call him, or the hidden Imam, is going to emerge from centuries of hiding. And he's going to emerge. They call him the Mahdi, the 12th Imam, or the Mahdi, the hidden Imam. He's an Islamic Messiah figure. And he's going to lead the forces of Islam to victory with Iran as the tip of his spear. They truly believe this. And Khamenei is a massive believer in this Islamic end times eschatology, apocalyptic eschatology. And if someone is a true ideological fanatic and believer like that, it's very unlikely he's going to make concessions. He'd rather go out and take everyone with him. because they believe this 12er sect in Shia Islam, in Iran in particular, they believe that this Mahdi, this Islamic Messiah figure, the hidden Imam, the 12th Imam, will return during a time of great global calamity. So, well, look, the first rule of war, Sun Tzu, know your enemy. You have to know what these people believe. They are true fanatics, is apocalyptic Islamic eschatological fanatics. And they believe the more carnage, the more chaos, the greater the chance the Mahdi, M-A-H-D-I, Mahdi, they would say, returns. So if you're the Ayatollah right now and you're in your bunker, and by the way, he's in hiding in a bunker someplace as he anticipates a U.S. attack. If you're the Ayatollah, you're saying, you know what, bring it on. The Mahdi may return. And Allah is on our side. And we're going to go out in a blaze of glory. So that's what you're dealing with. You're not dealing with a government and a regime and a leadership in Iran that are reasonable. Oh, they're reasonable to a point. They're very crafty and evil and wicked and diabolical and maneuvering and doing that kind of thing. But when it comes to brass tacks, sitting down, negotiating with them, and trying to get them to make concessions, good luck. Concessions to the ultimate infidel power, the United States, especially after what Trump has done over the past few years, eliminated Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian terror master, destroyed Iran's nuclear weapons program, pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, bolstered Israel at every turn. They've plotted, has the Iranian leadership, to assassinate President Trump at least twice in the run-up to the 2024 election. And now over the past several weeks, really in the wake of the 12-day war, it started late June, the threats against Trump, against him physically, personally, to assassinate him, have ramped up once again within the corridors of the Iranian leadership. Doesn't seem like a regime that's very eager to make concessions and come to the negotiating table. Sounds like a regime that would rather go out in a blaze of glory. And folks, even if a deal is struck, God forbid, and again, President Trump's MO has not been that. He's pledged to help the Iranian people, and he's pledged that the Ayatollah Khamenei needs to go. Why? And also, reports today swirling that U.S. intelligence has informed President Trump that the Iranian regime has never been weaker than it is right now and more vulnerable. I didn't need an intelligence report to tell me that, to be quite honest with you. It's just verifying what you could see with your own naked eyes, that they're severely weakened. Where do we begin? I mean, their ring of fire has collapsed. Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, they're still dangerous, but a shadow of what they were after Israel has laid the smackdown on them over the past 2 years plus. The nuclear program destroyed, Iran's economy in tatters, drought. The country's been plagued by drought over the past few years, really. And over 1 million people were in the streets in the past few weeks, calling for the downfall of this regime. They've never been more vulnerable. They are hated by their own people. I mean, hated. They're on borrowed time. A nuclear deal, a new deal would throw them a life raft. It makes no sense. I'd be shocked if Trump would do that. Anything could happen, but doesn't fit his MO. And I think after making those promises to assist the Iranian people, to then not do something after the bloodbath, a genocide of their own people this government just committed, hearkening back to the days of Stalin and Mao. That's how bad it is. And it's unfolding as we speak. For Trump to not then do anything would, I mean, not only hurt his image among America's allies, like, hey, can we count on this guy? And again, time and time, he's answered the bell during both of his terms in office. Time and time again, he's answered the bell and come through for allies. So for him to not come through with the Iranian people after making those promises, let's just say it'd be a very bad look. China, Russia, Iran taking notes. And again, time and again, he has shown he's been a man of his word. He's seen his promises through. He's taken daring military action. It goes back to his first term. So for him to suddenly not follow through and agree to a deal that throws the Ayatollahs a lifeline doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. But we shall see. Who knows how this is going to play out? I'm going to break it down a bit more. Before I do, quick reminder, be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. Also, hey, we're on Facebook, X, Instagram, we're everywhere across social media. So be sure to follow me there as well. We've got original content there that you don't see here on the YouTube live stream and the newscast. And we've got our nightly show on TBN, remember. It's called Stakelbeck Tonight. Now, if you like what you're hearing on the Watchman channel, you'll love our nightly show every single night on TBN, the world's largest Christian television network, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time with a re-air at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great guests, great commentary, a lot of an Israel, Middle East focus. I think, and we talk about everything on Stakelbeck Tonight. I think you'll really like it. Check it out on TBN, or we've got a Stakelbeck Tonight YouTube channel. Yes, we have 2 YouTube channels. This is the main one, of course, but you can also subscribe to the Stakelbeck Tonight channel. Check it out. It's got clips from the TBN show. I think you'll like it. I don't think Iran is going to like, or Iran's leadership is going to like, the outcome of this armada that is now in Iran's backyard, quite literally. And they're steeling themselves. They're going into hiding. I mentioned the Ayatollahs in hiding already. The IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, really the vanguard of this regime. A bunch of them are in hiding as well. Here's what they're threatening towards Israel. I mentioned the Tel Aviv threat. And by the way, the U.S. announced it is going to conduct multi-day aerial military drills in the Middle East. CENTCOM is launching an air exercise as D.C., as Washington, continues to shift significant forces to the region to enable a possible strike on Iran after the regime's devastating crackdown on protesters. Folks, again, I'm going to read the Tel Aviv threat. Really wrap your heads around this. I mean, I didn't stutter earlier. Reliable estimates coming from on the ground in Iran are saying at least 40,000 people have been slaughtered in the past 2 or 3 weeks alone. And much of it came in a 2-day period, January 8th and 9th. Over the course of 2 days, tens of thousands of people were murdered. The regime is shooting people indiscriminately, murdering people. We hear reports of beheadings, by the way, as well. Because not only are the Iranian shock troops doing the killing, they've brought in apparently their goons, Iraqi militias, Hezbollah, some Afghan militias have come in as well and are assisting Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps and the Basiji militia, the main skull crackers of the regime. 40,000 people in such a compressed amount of time. This is mass slaughter, demonic butchery. And the world's just watching. Or they're not watching. They know it's happening, but they're willfully looking the other way. Only Trump and Israel are being forceful about this. The rest of the West is burying its head in the sand, because to call it out for what it is would mean you need to show leadership and a backbone and moral clarity and peace through strength. And you may have to project strength and not only talk tough, but back it up with action. Europe is not willing to do that, nor is Australia, nor is Canada. The craven political class in these countries, where do I begin? They are of the Neville Chamberlain school, appeasement 101, and it never works. Let's give Iran what they want. We'll give the regime what it wants. We'll give them billions of dollars in sanctions relief. This is also the Barack Obama, Joe Biden mindset as well. We'll give them whatever they want. Billions, cold hard cash. The Obama administration actually about 10 years ago delivered pallets of cash to the regime back in January 2016. We'll give them what they want. And they'll leave us alone or not. As Trump has called Iran, yes, it's the bully of the Middle East under this leadership. And you give a bully an inch and they take a mile. They smell weakness. and they'll take advantage. This is from the dawn of time. This is how it's worked. It's not brain surgery. Trump gets that. The Iranian regime will respect a strong horse. They might hate Israel and the U.S. Till infinity and Trump, but they know that they mean business. They don't think that Europe means business. You have Trump, in my view, and Netanyahu are a pair of Churchills in a sea of Chamberlains. Isn't it sad? That's why the West is on life support. That's why Spain, for instance, just agreed to legalize between 500,000 and 800,000 migrants who came to the country, most of them illegally, and most of them undoubtedly are Muslims. You know, we had the Reconquista. Read your history. Spain was Muslim for about 800 years. Then the Reconquista, the Spanish Christians pushed the Muslim occupiers out and took power in Spain once again. They called it the Reconquista. Well, we have kind of a reverse Reconquista happening right now. And Spain's leadership, far left, radical, anti-Israel government. The left and Islam, very interesting. We see it in country after country in Europe, Canada, Australia as well. We would have seen it in the United States under Harris and Waltz. The left is letting Muslim migrants stream into their respective countries because they despise Judeo-Christian Western civilization. They want to turn it on its head and upend our way of life. But here's a lesson from Iran, and I've shared this before. In 1979, in the run-up to Iran's Islamic Revolution, when this wicked regime came to power 47 years ago, the left and the communists, the socialists, the Marxists, they stood with the Ayatollah. They backed him. It was an unholy alliance, Islamo-communist alliance. Then when the Ayatollah took power, the first thing he did a few months later was to line up all the leftists and execute them. They were the first ones with their heads on the chopping blocks. So right now in the West, you'll see the Muslim Brotherhood types, the radical Islamists. You'll see them marching with the leftists with rainbow flags. You might see them together. But if Islam gets its way and comes to power, the left will have a very rude awakening. Talk about being short-sighted. Now, they share a similar goal, the destruction of Judeo-Christian Western civilization. But the end game, vastly different. Islam wants Islamic Sharia law for one and all, the return of the caliphate. And there's no place in there for LGBTQ, let's just say that. That's why homosexuals in places like Afghanistan and Gaza are being killed. But the left doesn't see this. They think, well, look, we'll use the Muslims as our foot soldiers here in the West. It's not going to end well for the left if they continue down this trajectory, because it's going to come to a clash with the new arrivals. And it's short-sighted, it's insane, but it's happening across the Western world right now, which is another reason Israel is, I consider the U.S. under Trump the last line of defense for Western civilization. I consider Israel the first line of defense for Western civilization. Another reason for any sober-minded American, European, Christian in particular, to stand with Israel. Here's the threat from Iran as tensions increase. And again, be sure to subscribe, folks, because look, when this breaks out, if and when, we're coming to you live, and we'll have all the updates. A senior advisor, Ali Shamkhani, a senior advisor to Iran's supreme leader, warned that any U.S. military action would be met with a harsh response, including strikes on Tel Aviv. Now, he said it would be immediate and unprecedented, Iran's response. This is not a surprise, of course. And you look at the damage Iran did back in June during the 12-day war. Dozens of people died in Israel as Iran fired ballistic missiles. And I think part of the pause we've seen over the past 2 weeks from President Trump's initial threats is getting assets in place, not only obviously the aircraft carrier, but missile defense, defending against Iran's inevitable response. Israel's got incredible missile defenses, so does the United States. But Israel's on the highest of alerts right now. And it's a tinderbox, folks. The world's most chaotic region just got a bit more chaotic, the Middle East. So keep it all in prayer, no doubt. and keep it right here. We'll be coming to you with regular updates as we monitor the situation. Stay warm, no matter where you are. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.